Here you see the slide. This was a cover of Business Today 10 years ago. Over 10 years, a lot of water has flown. And if Business Today was to make a cover now, what could have been the cover is worthwhile guessing. Maybe it would not look something like this, but a very, very different thing. And for this, at SPJIMR Institute, we have a 5-point proposal. One, all this is related to family businesses, but one is that globally there is an explosion of opportunities. Two, while the explosion is global, it is Indian companies which can take the maximum advantage. Three, while Indian companies can take maximum advantage, within Indian companies it is family businesses which will be the real beneficiaries. And fourth, while all this is true for family businesses, majority of the family businesses will not be able to take the advantage. This is where is our whole story. Let's see the things.
The explosion of opportunities in the 21st century has opened gates to a movement never witnessed by mankind before. The world awaits with its arms wide open for new ideas and innovative minds. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are from, but all that matters is if you have it in you to cash in on the opportunities. A world full of ideas and opportunities without boundaries or walls.
The Berlin Wall was built in 1961. To stem the flow of refugees from east to west during the Cold War, the power struggle between the Western Allies and the Communist bloc after World War II. East German border guards shot on sight anyone trying to cross its 29-mile length. But in 1989, a wave of popular unrest unleashed by the liberalizing reforms of glasnost and perestroika under Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev led to the collapse of the communist regime. The destruction of the Berlin Wall, the most hated symbol of the Cold War, marked the end of 4 decades of conflict.
It was not just the geographical boundaries that vanished, but it was also the collapse of the economic and trade barriers. With the dawn of the 21st century, the world saw a paradigm shift in the global economic conditions and standards. Global business would never be the same again. Internet soon became the next big thing when the world was brought closer by user-friendly softwares like Netscape, software interfaces and Wikipedia. Business innovations like outsourcing, offshoring and supply chain management changed the definition of work across global boundaries and set new trends for businesses.
So, for office supplies, which is the industry we represent, based on Thomas Friedman's world is flat, you suddenly had almost 500,000 IT jobs working out of India, and suddenly it represented an organized office supplies company to supply office products. And if I just take 500,000 current jobs in IT and I capture 10,000 rupees of their spend per annum, it represents a 500 crore opportunity. And we're talking of 50,000 jobs at a minimum getting added every year just by the top 5 companies here.
So with the world becoming a much smaller place and with people and information coming together, it means, there are countries which are ahead on the evolutionary cycle and there are countries which are a little behind on the evolutionary cycle, which throws up a window of humongous opportunities. It means that companies or countries which are on the lower evolutionary cycle have huge opportunities to create joint ventures to ensure that they quickly catch up with the first-rate world which is there, which means that every segment, opportunity, product which you see today or the innovation which is there, you have a chance to leapfrog and be on the same place as those people there. Who would have thought that a 10 crore company today, can collaborate with a $27 billion organization and, become staples in India, so to say. And that's really an opportunity from our end, which has happened in the background.
Now, these two boys came to me, they are our students, and said that they want to get into business of stationery. And we discussed that what an insult to our program. Our FMB program talks about increasing business manifold, and you are going to get into a business which you are going to compete with somebody who is having a shop of 4 feet by 4 feet. Stationery business is a very retail business like this. These two boys did not argue with me. After 2 years, they come and tell me, sir, we want you to come and address our employees. Fine. How many? 40. Which level? All managers. Now I was a little shocked and surprised. In the business of stationery, what is it that you could do that you have 40 managers, and what is the meeting is a strategic review meeting in 2 years of time. What is it that they did? And this is what we mean explosion of opportunity. Majority of the businesses have no clue, really speaking, what kind of opportunities have come up. One of our students, Gopal Krishna Brothers, Agra, into the business of making the eye lenses, the glasses. Extremely non-competitive business, labor-oriented business. You can't increase the price by 1 rupee. You increase the price, people will go to another laboratory. From Agra, this person takes over a company in London. Now, in London, the opticians take the measurement that is entered into the computer. Morning 3 o'clock, all the data comes to his factory at Noida. By 6 o'clock, production is planned. 2 o'clock, production is over. 4 o'clock, flight Lufthansa over to London. The glasses are reaching to the customers in London shop earlier than what it was coming from London at 1/20th of a cost, and our student making 4 times profit than he was making earlier. A business from Agra, unviable, becomes attractive by taking over a company in London. Within 2 years acquires another company in Germany, and then now talks about acquiring company in Scandinavian country. Look at it, what has happened. When they say world is flat, majority of the Indian family businesses never read, and they are so arrogant and stupid that they think that their business is the only thing in the world. If Aziz Premji was doing in oil, and if he would have continued looking into oil, then you and me would have never heard about Aziz Premji. The point is, when you read the book, The World is Flat, and you see the kind of opportunities that have come. 2 things that have happened. One is the global. We need not worry about doing business in India. The whole world is a map. And 2 is IT. IT can make scales, and scales are such that we who think that we know business will have to start raising questions whether we really know business. So this is about the opportunity. Now is the next point. It is the Indian companies which take the best advantage. Why European and Americans cannot compete?
Since the end of the license Raj, India has become an open field of opportunities for the world to come in and invest in all forms. It is a phenomenon equivalent to the level play field where the world is flat, but India has the edge over others. Why? Simply because of various factors like low labor cost, higher return on investments, bright innovative minds, strong business sense, booming IT sector, profitable financial investments, huge supply and distribution channels, and one of the biggest growing and emerging markets in the world. In today's dynamic world, Indian companies stand to gain the most. As the education sector grew, the IT industry became the highlight of the 21st century. Indian professionals had to keep up with the pace of the IT boom. History has time and again stood as a witness to Indians becoming one of the greatest business minds in every sector imaginable. Against all odds, Indians have proved to have had the competitive edge in business running in their bloodline since time dating back to 5000 BC. Hence, India's comparative cost advantage of $1 equivalent to ₹50 is no surprise.
Gives me immense.
That's what is the Indian companies. And now within Indian companies, What family businesses can do, bigger corporates cannot do. What Sunil Mittal did, Hindustan Unilever cannot do. What DLF did, Larsen & Toubro will not be able to do it. The reason is that family businesses have certain strength which only family businesses can take into action. Today when the opportunity explodes, you need to really take a call that how much is the today's investment for tomorrow's profit. And this kind of flexibility, long-term decision making, beginning with low cost understanding and all, is in the blood of family businesses. That makes Indian family businesses the biggest advantage. Here is something more about it.
Pleasure to be here today. This is a dream that I think most SMEs in India have held to go out of India and be recognized. 4 years back, when my colleagues came back to me and said, we have 5,000 companies who want to vie for this honor across maybe 8 or 10 verticals in terms of excellence, I said, I can't believe that number, because 5,000 companies are saying that they deserve to be counted. And then I asked Crystal, do you think really deserve to be there? They told me more than half of them deserve to be recognized. The next year, from 5,000, we had 35,000 companies the third year, and I didn't believe those numbers. It was 125,000 companies. And this year, I still can't believe that number. We have over 300,000 companies which have sought recognition across 10 verticals. These are the companies which are writing the India story. They are really running ahead in terms of chasing and at the same time driving economic momentum in the country.
Emerging India Awards are a great symbol for the India that exists today. Not only do they underline India's potential to generate strong growth and transform its own economy, they demonstrate the country's ability to become a central force in the global economy. When I started my own business back in 1976, the situation was different. I had to look for global opportunities because the opportunities did not exist at home. Today, happily, the situation is reversed. India is a minefield of opportunities for young entrepreneurs and businesses willing to take risks, work hard, and follow the opportunity. All the world great businesses were once SMEs, and I can say that with some certainty that some companies which will be members of the Fortune 500 in 25 years' time are SMEs today. Indian companies must continue to look for ways to improve their global position by gearing up for the next level of growth and by engaging with their counterparts across the globe.
Small and medium enterprises are...
Now, while this is true, now comes our third point. Majority of the Indian family businesses will not be able to do this. The reason is that we have a very peculiar business situation. I see so many people going abroad, attending some family business conferences and coming and starting talking about that in India. What we miss out is that Indian family business is a particular situation. Our business is started largely 1980 onwards. 62 war, 71 war, 62 war, 65 war, 71 war, 77 emergency. Till 1980, virtually only few big houses and all others just catering to them. This is what was the situation. 1980, the whatever were the share prices is called index of 100. Any person who had 1 lakh rupees in 1980 was considered as Lakhpati, and it really meant a big thing. It is only from 1980 till 1995, whoever got into business got stabilized into the business. So by 1995, they started saying, we are businessmen. By 1980, there was nothing much. So our majority of the chunk has produced from 1980 to 1995. And what was the situation at that time? From Bombay, if I want to make a call to Delhi, I had to book a trunk call. Once I book a call, I cannot go for washroom, because I don't know whether the call will come in half an hour or after 8 hours. I cannot go abroad. Foreign exchange crisis in the country. You want to go abroad, $500 once in 2 years, provided you show that you are earning more than that. So we had no other choice but to work locally. Majority of the Indian family businesses started working locally into that territory. When businesses were local, they were small. Because they were small, we could not afford hiring people. So we developed a culture that owner must do all things in the businesses. Owner must understand all aspects of the businesses. If at all we could hire people, we would always hire people who are less capable than us, so that his problem also we will solve. All the business people who have found business from 1980 to 1995 have some stage in life got an experience of being God. Everybody's problem, come to me, I will solve. It be a production problem, I will solve. It is a sales problem, I will solve. Sales tax problem, I will solve. Two workers are fighting, I will solve. And all the things I will solve. Now, this gentleman is now 40, 45, and his son or daughter, they are sending them to do MBA here, anywhere, wherever it is. This son or daughter going in various places, they are seeing that Kishore Biyani set up his first shop in 1997 of 10,000 square feet, and by 2005 he is the retail king. Deccan Airways 2003, just starting by 2007, largest airline in the country. 2002, Google name is not known. 2007, $140 billion capitalization. Young people see the speed at which the world is operating. The old people, their success was based on doing everything ourselves. And now this young and old, there is a tremendous tension. I have students who are coming from the age of 22 to 23, and I give them a guarantee. Join our program and there will be serious problems at your home for next 5 years. Fathers have been successful by doing everything ourselves. So they tell the children, you must know all aspects of your business. कोई दूसरा हमको कमा के नहीं देने वाला है. खुद मरे बिना स्वर्ग में नहीं जा सकते. These are all the lessons that they learned in a period of 1980 to 1995, which are exactly becoming counterproductive just now. If you want to do business where you know everything, obviously the business has to be very small. If you want to do the business where you have to handle everything, then obviously that business has to be very small. The world is giving explosion of opportunity, but you want to take only a small part of it because you don't realize you are a successful business person of another era. And now the era has changed, and for this changing scenario, what is it that we have to change? Just giving you some example. Moral of the story. 1995, slow and steady wins the race. The typical hare and turtle story. 2005, again hare and turtle story. The race goes on. 1, 2, 3, start. Hare also runs, turtle also runs. Turtle in his slow and steady stage reaches the destination. And he's surprised. The rabbit is already there. He asks the rabbit, how come you are already here? You are not supposed to be here. The rabbit is telling him, what do you think? Only your grandfather told you the story. My grandfather also told me the story, and we reflected. Why did we lose the race? We lost the race because we were complacent. And we decided we will not be complacent anymore, and that's it. Now the story is fast and focused, win the race. Earlier time, there was nobody who would give us money. So obviously, we will do business with what money we can afford. We had little money, so we will do money with very little business. None of the family business person would have ever thought of starting an airline. It is only an ignorant person like Captain Gopinath can think about starting an airline. He comes to our program and he is telling us, I am so lucky, I didn't know that to start a helicopter company, you need money. He didn't know. And he says that if at all I knew everything that I had, if I would have sold off, I would have get money enough to buy one blade of the helicopter. The real today's story is that resource exists outside. The whole business model has changed. My idea, my struggle, my money has gone out. One person's idea, another person's work, third person's finance coming together from day one global scale. How will family businesses tune themselves to this situation? This, in our opinion, is the biggest challenge family businesses face. Opportunities are millions. Father and son, if they become complement, superb combination. But none of us ever know what is happening. Very soon, father enters the room, son leaves. Son enters the room, father leaves. And both of them communicate to a CEO, which is mother, called Chief Emotional Officer. You all are laughing as if it is a big joke. It's a big tragedy. And the tragedy takes place because we don't know what is happening and nobody is telling us what is happening. And we start attributing each one is bad. One business person tells me, today's generation, kya hone wala hai unka? Up to 9 o'clock they don't get up. You know, I get up at 6 o'clock and at 8 o'clock I am the first one in the factory. Now, if you want to build a factory, you must set an example. How much, if you run 4 factories, how will you set up an example by being at all the factory at 8 o'clock in the morning? And is it important that what time the son or daughter gets up or after getting up what they do? But we don't know how to handle it. So we catch handle on peripheral issues. What time they get up, they go for party late night, they spend money here and there. His mobile bill is equivalent to my entire month's expenses. Now, this particular understanding makes peripheral issues important and we don't know what is happening. A son comes and suggests something to the father. Father does not know how to reply. So he keeps says, baad mein dekhenge. Son thought that he has got a most important thing, so he comes again. The father says, baad mein dekhenge. Third time again the son comes and now he says, I want to take the answer. So father tells him one thing. Tu inke piche kyun pada hai? Tujhe kaam diya na, tu sale bada ke la. Now what happened? Actually they could not understand the language system of each other. And because of this, they started attributing qualities to the other person which never existed. The son starts harboring a feeling, my father doesn't care for me. The father starts harboring a feeling that these people don't want to do the work. This particular thing creates the tension. If I hold a seminar, how father and son should relate with each other, nobody attends. If I conduct a seminar, how to do business with a Chinese company, 500 attendance. Because the family business people have a wrong notion in their mind that doing business is more important than developing an organization. This is because we were a small business people, so ultimately everything we did. And after all, whatever I do is what mattered. But in coming time, doing business is immaterial. If you develop an organization, then organization will do business far better than you were doing yourself. Now, developing organization requires attention, requires understanding of the dynamics, requires thinking ahead what will happen. Now, let me tell you the situation. 2 brothers. One is the brother of 24 years age, another is of 22 years age. Bharat and Ram and Bharat. Ram is a brilliant engineer. Bharat is a brilliant commerce graduate, doesn't understand ABC of engineering. They are into the business of tools. Bharat is telling me, you know, my brother Ram is genius. He can go to the company, look at the problem, and whatever complex problem, he can suggest a solution. Ram is telling me, my brother Bharat is genius. I can't sell anything. If I go to sell something of 100 rupees, the party will tell me to sell in 50 rupees. But Bharat will go and 100 rupees item he will sell in 200 and come. What a superb combination and mutual admiration. Horizontal lining, together we make a team. 10 years down the line, they are into the age of 34 and 32. Now the understanding starts changing. Now Ram says, Bharat is good at sales, but you know, we are a technical business, so he should also do technical. Unless he understands technical, nothing much is going to work. Bharat starts telling, Ram is very good in technical, but he must understand that unless we get order, things don't work. Something which was unconditional admiration 10 years down the line started becoming discounting. 10 years further down the line, you can understand, both have a children. By the way, Ram has a son and Bharat has a daughter. And this also has an equation to start making place. Very soon, the attention starts changing. At 50, 44 and 42, Ram is worried about now to induct my son in the business. So we want to expand. Bharat is talking about that now we should not expand too much because we cannot handle too much. And by 54, 52, impossible to bear with each other. Why is it happening? The horizontal line has now become vertical line. Something that two brothers were working together, now he's talking about me and my family. Two brothers are not family anymore. Me and my children has become family. This is not because anybody has a wrong intention. This is something that dynamics takes place and we need to understand. If it happens in our company, our family, father, two sons, father has 50% holding, one son has 25% holding, another has 25. Father is retiring. Question is, to whom should he pass over his 50%? He decides to pass over equally to both son A and B. Now, son A's grandson P is 25 years old. Their side, grandson R is 15 years old. By the time son R joins, son P has been already spent 15 years in the business. But he is going to get 12 and 25% of the business, whereas son R is going to get 50% of the business. P was instrumental in taking the business from 10 crore to 100 crore. By the time they reach 100, son R is going to enter, who knows nothing about the business, but holds 50% of the share. How are we going to handle it? When all the children were small, nobody thought that this can be issue. And when it becomes issue, it's too late. Then we can't do anything. This is an issue that has to be seen. All this that I am telling you are the real stories. Two brothers into business together. Son A and B, extremely serious, hardworking. Son C, ready to work. Son D is very clear. What are we earning all this money for unless we enjoy life? So, son A and son B, who are working very hard, they know what is the meaning of working capital crisis. When we have to make a payment, we have to go on pleading supplier, please wait because the payment will come, I will pay you. Son D says, I want a car which is Civic, 30 lakhs, and I need it, and he already signs EMI and buys the car. The company has to pick the payment. If this happens like this, how long will this go together? Does it mean that this company will have to break, or could they have thought little something earlier whereby all this could have been prevented? Indian family businesses, we don't have a very long history. As I told you, 80 to 95, we just survived. So we had never had a time to think about all these things. But now if we don't think, all the problems are going to come, and then you should not blame God. Oh God, why all this problem come to me only? Okay, you are not taking care, then the problem comes. Here is another case. Brother R has two daughters. Both daughters married. Brother P has two sons, 30 and 30, 35 and 30. Obviously, the brother P is responsible to his sons and he says that I have to get them settled. So we have to expand in business. Brother R says, ये सब करके क्या फायदा? ऊपर तो कुछ लेके जाने वाले हैं नहीं. जो है वो संभाल के रखो ना. Why are you becoming so greedy? अपने पास जो है उतने में खुश रहो. This is brother R philosophy. And brother P philosophy is different. Now brother PQRS had tremendous bond among each other. At the age of 55, 60, Now they become enemies of each other. Because of what? Not paying the basic attention that this situation could happen to our family. We need to pay attention to this. This is what is the issue. I would tell generally, in family businesses in India, let me tell you, come back. Tremendous opportunities. Only Indian companies can take benefit. Within that, only family business can take benefit, provided they understand this issue and address it. One issue, children, induction. In India, there is not so much succession problem at all. Most of the business people are into 45, 50 years of age, and next 20 years they are going to continue to be in the business. It is the children who are going to come, 20 years they are going to work together. What do they do so that their going together is more harmonious? Either be harmonious or conflict. There is nothing in between. Induction of the children makes tremendous difference. By any chance, do you know what is induction of daughter-in-law? One of our students going to get married, his father, with entire his family and the to-be bride's family, together go for an outing. One day, all the day, whole day, interacting, ice-breaking, knowing each other. In the night, there is a meeting discussing how our grandfather started business, having come to Bombay from Gujarat, stayed on a footpath, was sweeping the floor, collecting the grain which was thrown. From there, he started becoming a broker of grain. Then he had a shop. Then he set up a flour mill. And that is how we grew. And once there was a fire in the flour mill, and we became bankrupt. And then my grandfather said, unless and until we repay every penny of the creditors, we will not stay in our own house, we'll stay in rented house. And that is how we went to a rented house. This is the legacy of the grandfather that we are carrying, and now it is our job to take this name forward. When this is discussed with the bride and the entire family together, that is what is called inculcating family pride in incoming people. What are we doing for the children to get proud about being part of the family? There is a Chanderia family and there was some other family. We were at one conference, one person who is foreign studied. Of foreign studied people, coming back to family business is guaranteed tremendous problem. Foreign studied person comes back and he says, I was working in IBM and I was getting $100,000. 3 years ago, I came and joined in my business. Now, everybody who was working with me, they have their own apartment. And what do I have? That person from Chanderia family responded, I am surprised at your comparison. In my family, that's very clear. We are not born to work for IBM. We are born to create IBM. So our comparison is never there with people who are working for IBM. How do you get an even thought that you have to compare yourself with what salary you will get? You have to get a thought that in these 3 years, what you have contributed to the business. It is not that whether you got your car or not, you got your money or not, our company and our business has to be taken forward. This induction, creation of the pride is what is required. And one major issue, role of family women. Generally, there are out of 100 jokes, 80 jokes are about wives. And it is said that two brothers were working business together. It is only when they got married, then eventually they broke down. But actually there is a tremendous distortion in this story. What happens? Two brothers were working together. Whenever they had a fight, each one went home with a frown on the face. Wife asks what happens. They tell, what do they tell? How unfair the other brother was. They will tell only their side of the story. When the other brother did something marvelous, that they don't go and tell home. So the wife only listens one side of the story repeatedly, again and again and again and again and again and again. So she says, if there are so many problems, why don't you separate? Finish. It is because of her that we separated. On the other hand, actually family women play tremendous role in businesses. One of our students, business is share broking, Dalal and Barucha Stock Broking Private Limited. His father started business in 1965. His mother took his hand and put on her head. Meri kasam khao, take my this, whatever in English, I don't know how you call it. Okay? That you will not do speculate. And that became the mission business guideline for that company, that today with the third generation, they are very clear they cannot do speculation. The whole business direction was set by an illiterate mother. There was a Simi Grewal interviewing Lakshmi Mittal on TV, and he was asked about what is the role of your wife in your success. And he said that when he was taking some very important decision in life about some acquisitions, of course his decisions are all acquisitions only, it seems. So he was taking some acquisitions and he was little disturbed. His wife, name is Usha, asked him, what is the matter? He's saying that there is a decision, I am not very sure what will happen or not. And it seems that she told him, that you take a thorough job before taking a decision. Now that you have taken decision, you should not hesitate, you should go ahead. Jo hoga saath mein dekh lenge. Whatever happens, we will face it together. Now this assurance from a wife to the husband makes the biggest battle won. These are the subtle part of family women. And now there are going to be more dynamic part of family women. What happens? Should daughter be given share in inheritance or not? Should daughter-in-law be given share in inheritance or not? After Birla family, where one of the daughter-in-law hands over the entire stake to the chartered accountant, there has started becoming a question. What should be the inheritance? So far, we don't have an answer. We have not thought about it. So many business families take very big pride, saying, in our family, women are not involved in business. Very fine. You started using mobile, you started using internet, you started using everything about the world, but as far as role of family women is concerned, you are going back to 18th century. But anyway, it will not survive anymore. There are 4 reasons why it has changed. One, the work and business has become gender neutral. When you are sending an email, for computer it makes no difference whether a male is typing an email or a female is typing an email. You are into the business of steel, there was a time when there was a place in which you had to go. Stock market, there was a trading ring, you had to go physically and physical strength mattered. Today, time neutral, you can check your mail midnight, you can check afternoon. Space neutral, you can operate from anywhere. And gender neutral. Second, the women, it has been increasingly realized that can contribute to strategy also. Otherwise, in family businesses, women were allowed to look after the crockery and curtain in the business. And they were told, you have total freedom. Whatever you want to, you do. As long as it is only crockery and curtain. But now when Indra Nooyi becomes chief executive of PepsiCo and Naina Kidwai chairperson of HSBC and 4 out of 10 banks, the chairpersons are women, now at least business people need to think that family women can contribute to strategy also. The third thing that is becoming more important is that business becoming neutral families. If anything happens to husband and if the wife does not know about what is the business, the whole family can get ruined. All the contracts against the family will be enforced. All the contracts in favor of the family, nobody will show the face. All the payment that we had to take, nobody will show the face. All the payment which we have to make, they will come and claim. If wife does not know anything about business, the family will be ruined. Now in all this scenario, what is the way of induction of the child? We are told when there is only one daughter, she is treated differently. The day a son is born, she is treated differently. Now this mindset, unless it doesn't change, we are paying a very, very heavy price. 50% of the talent in the family is unutilized and we are searching all over the world for talent and we are saying talent is in short supply. So this is about role of family women and lastly it is about professional. Having people more competent than me, drawing salaries more than me and really working with me is a competence which let's admit we don't know. We have grown in a time where we were doing everything, we knew everything. And now is a time when people who are more capable than us are going to work with us. To do all this thing, one conference is not enough. This is not an intellectual exercise that we should be open to people. By that decision, nothing happens. I give a lot of lecture, you should not get angry. But if I see you dozing in my lecture, I will get angry. Because I can give lecture to others that you should not get angry, but I can get angry. The same way, delegation. You should be open to people. You should really respect people very well. All these lectures we can give it to others, but when we have to do, old habits die hard. And how are we going to change? Unless we systematically work on it, it doesn't change. This is not an issue of 1 or 2 hours conference and just attending and getting 5 points to become a successful family manager. It is really systematic work required. Finally, the young people need to know very well. While we can see many people have become big, understand many people have gone bust also. The elder generation has tremendous wisdom. Their cost consciousness, maybe by default, they didn't have money to spend. And even if they had money to spend, they didn't get even a car. If you want to buy a car also, there was a 10-hour waiting period. If you want a two-wheeler also, there was a 10-year waiting period. They could not spend money anywhere, but all said and done, their cost consciousness is our biggest strength. There was nowhere to go, so at that time we went to go to vacation, we will go to dharma places, religious places. Religious places you go, what do? You have to live in dharmashala because there was no resort. When you stay there, what do? You eat in bhojan shala because that is where you eat. You eat with the worker and the mill manager together. Our elder generation can relate with the lowest level person to the highest level person very smoothly, whereas today's younger people cannot. And this is our biggest handicap. Now, if you can keep the elder generation and younger generation together, have the dynamics and be ready one thing, what can happen wrong? We have today net worth of 10 crores. We are taking a risk, acquiring a company in Germany. And if something goes wrong, we lose 10 crore. What will happen? Nothing will happen. We will sell our flat and we will start working, and within very short time, we will bounce back. This is the biggest training any father can ever give to his son or daughter. Being afraid of falling is the biggest fear. Removing the fear of falling. If happens, happens. Required, I can fly business class. Required, I will travel by ST bus. If that is there, then removing the fear from next generation, 2 generations coming together becomes the biggest thing. Once you do this, look out, tremendous opportunity everywhere around. Summing back everything that I am saying, tremendous opportunities, Indian companies to gain, family business to gain the most. But there are clear issues. Start paying attention to it. If you don't, you can't. On the other hand, you pay the attention, nothing can stop us. Thank you very much. I stand here. Yes? I don't mind your time.
Hello. So this is the very first session I have ever attended post-lunch, so lively and everybody is excited to hear you.
Good.
Since you have talked about family business, so the topic is very old, but I would like to know, in your opinion, what would be the 3 specific reasons why the Reliance family got split? In your own opinions, I know it's the personal.
Sorry, what are 3 specific reasons?
What would be the 3 reasons, in your opinion, why the Reliance family got split?
Forget about Reliance family. Why are you so much worried about other families?
There is always a history, give you some good learning, sir.
Learn so many great things that they have done. You see, there is something in a municipal corporation, you have a 2 job. One is a garden inspector, another is a gutter inspector. Okay? The gutter inspector, when he enters the garden, he cannot see the plants around. He will straight go to the gutter. What is the happening in the gutter? In life, so many things are around. Can we focus our eyes on what good things are happening and taking it forward? They might have fought for any reason. Every individual is unique. Why should we worry so much about it? Maybe they did not pay attention to family issues. Let us pay the attention. That's it. I don't say anything great about their being together or separate.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let me tell you, don't waste your time in all these gossips. Think of becoming Ambanis. Don't go out talking about Ambanis. And tell me that what are the things you need for your family to go forward. That is where let us focus on the thing. That's my suggestion. Huh?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes? Yeah, आप चालू करिए ना जरा मेरा मोबाइल email because I don't have cards. So. Yes, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir, for a very thought-provoking session. I'm a second-generation entrepreneur, and I could identify with a lot of issues which you mentioned.
Yes.
I think most of the issues which come up, I think one of my understanding and perspective is there's a trust deficit when the company goes in from a family-owned, managed, family-owned, controlled setup to a professionally run organization. I think if Indian organizations have to survive, then they have to become more professional.
I followed. Let me tell you.
I'll just complete my question. Where the founding generation would be right in saying that how do we trust the newcomers who are coming into the organization? So is there a way that you can institutionalize the trust who are from people who are not a part of your family, who are professionals coming into it? How do you take care that the good values of the family-owned company are there in the professional setup also?
Let me tell you, all this is a hype and cliche which has gone so much in the environment that everybody keeps on talking about it again and again and again. A person is having a shop and he is going to the shop at 12 o'clock. Who opens the shop? Some person. That person is attending the customer, he sells the product, he takes the money, he puts the money in Gala, he even negotiates with the customer, he even convinces the customer that this is better than that. Why is he doing it? He is a professional. Who told you that an MBA and a chartered accountant are only professional people? In fact, Indian family businesses, all their employees is their biggest strength. Look at the employees of family businesses. How many of their biodata will be on Naukri.com? And look at it about the corporate sector. Actually speaking, managing people is one of the cultural strengths of Indian families. Two reasons. One, family-wise we are paternalistic. And two, Indian employees, once they get a sense of belonging, they don't want anything else. One of my students says that if I have to take 5 lakh from my home to office, I will not take it. I'll give it to my driver. Why? Because if I am taking the money and if somebody comes with a knife, I will give it up, but my driver will fight for it. Indian employees, family business employees have tremendous strength. Just by the name of professionalization, just because you pay 15 lakh salary, it doesn't mean that you get professional. With paying 2 lakh salary also, we have got people who are really dedicated to the work. The question is now next. For our small family, we could employ all them and work. Today, if I have to acquire a company in London, I need a person who can handle that company better than me. I have to spend 25 crore on advertising. I need to have a person who can make a call that this advertisement is better. I cannot make the call. People more competent than me, how to work is something all of us have to learn, including young or old generation. One of the biggest problems with the young generation is tremendous inferiority complex. They have seen their father. He can handle technology, he can understand people, he can understand sales tax, he can understand income tax. He understands everything and I understand nothing. And because of that, I come back with strong force in the name of professionalization, so that I don't need to know. The question is combination between the two. Young generation need to learn the strength of the family businesses. After all, businesses are very simple. It's not such a big rocket science that you require some special scientist to run the business. The question is, when you have competent people, and I'll tell you, family businesses, the moment they get competent people, they will give it up. The question is, getting competent people and assimilating in our companies, two things are required. Even those people have to learn. Working in family business is not same as working in corporate sector. And we also have to learn that just because you have hired somebody doesn't mean that he starts working. Tremendous hand-holding is to be done. There should be a good time of relationship between engagement and marriage. We don't do that. We just appoint and start assuming that he'll start working. That is the problem. Yes. Yes.
You've been talking about family businesses, more male-oriented, but I have a question for a female-oriented business. What is your thoughts in terms of if there is a woman enterprise, and how do you really do succession planning in terms of family-owned business?
Let's understand, my agenda today is not to address specific issues. My agenda today is to sensitize the audience the need to pay attention to dynamics of family businesses. So there is no way, each situation we cannot handle just now. But this is an issue, the same way as any other handling over is an issue. So I cannot respond right now. Sorry. Yes? Yes?